Canada Visitors/Tourist Visa, Process Times After Biometrics, September 26, 2025. Why you need to know this now. Imagine this: you've spent weeks collecting bank statements, travel plans, hotel bookings, sponsorship letters, and then, finally, you show up at the Visa Application Center, VAC, to give your fingerprints and photo. That moment feels like you're one step away from green light to Canada. But then comes the suspense. Will your visa be approved in a few days, weeks, or months? If you've ever applied for a Canadian visitor visa, tourist visa/temporary resident visa, TRV, you know the nervous wait after biometrics. And in 2025, that waiting game is more unpredictable than ever. Different countries, different visa offices, different backlogs, all throwing up wild swings in processing time. In this video-style narrative, Travel Tree takes you behind the scenes of the post-biometrics await. What really happens, why it depends, is the mantra, and what you can reasonably expect as of September 26, 2025. Let's jump in. The behind-the-curtains story. Hey, Travel Tree fam. It's your host here, and today we dive deep into one of the most agonizing phases of any Canada visitor visa application, after biometrics. You've done the hard part, submitted your application, paid fees, and given your fingerprints and photo. But here's the truth: the clock doesn't stop, it just shifts. What starts ticking now is IRCC's, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, internal review, external checks, verifications, country-specific backlogs, security passes, document cross-checks, and passport return logistics. Some applicants will cruise through this zone in days. Others may be in limbo for weeks or months. In this guide, narrated as if you're watching a Travel Tree full breakdown, you'll get the most current estimates for visa decision after biometrics in 2025. Why times vary wildly from country to country. What normal looks like, and what's not normal. Real stories from applicants, pitfalls, delays, surprises. Tips and mindset strategies to survive the wait. Let's turn our stopwatch on. What happens immediately after giving biometrics? When you submit your biometrics, fingerprints plus photo, at the VAC, or other biometrics collection site, here's the rough chain of events. VAC forwards biometric data to IRCC. The moment your biometrics are entered, IRCC receives confirmation and logs them. Your application becomes active for processing, meaning, beyond document checks, now background checks, police/security clearances, third-party validations begin. Requests for more documents, if needed, if anything is missing, ambiguous, or requires clarification, IRCC may pause and send a request. Decision/passport request. If approved, IRCC issues a passport request, PPR, asking you to submit your passport for visa stamping. Passport return and stamping. Once stamped, or refused, your passport is sent back to you, via VAC, courier, embassy, etc. Importantly, that after biometrics period is not always fixed, and IRCC explicitly states that processing times listed do not include the time you need to give biometrics. Also, you only need to give biometrics once every 10 years, in many cases, unless they expire or new ones are needed. What the IRCC/official sources say on processing times, 2025. Let's ground expectations in the official and semi-official data, as of 2025. The IRCC Check Processing Times portal shows that the published processing time includes biometrics delays, but counsels that times vary by country, application type, completeness, volume, etc. The IRCC site also notes that these processing times do not count the time to give biometrics. Many immigration blogs/analysis sites estimate that once biometrics are done, a visitor visa decision can take 3 to 6 weeks, i.e. 15 to 45 days, depending on the country, complexity, backlog, etc. Some sources, e.g. Atlas blog, suggest a narrower average of 18 to 31 calendar days after biometrics, with caveats for seasonal or sudden delays. Another summary, Panther Immigration, states 10 to 30 working days in many cases, with examples from Pakistan, 15 to 25 working days. But there are more conservative warnings. Legal Clarity warns that in complex or high-volume jurisdictions, timelines can stretch to 12 to 16 weeks, is almost equal to 3 to 4 months, or even more. So, the official and semi-official picture is, fastest in a few weeks, typical in a month or two, and worst case up to several months. Country-by-country variants and real-life stories. Here's where things get spicy: 2 applicants, same application date, same visa type, but their countries or VAC jurisdictions can push timelines dramatically differently. Examples from user stories/Reddit experiences. A person from the US submitted biometrics and got a response exactly 33 days later. Someone applying from India or other jurisdictions often report waiting 2 to 4 weeks after biometrics for approval or passport request. Another user, H-1B visa holder, applying from the US, gave biometrics and then waited 1 month without update, feeling stuck. One person gave biometrics in February, in March got a "status under process" message, and later faced extended waiting due to background checks. A more dramatic case, someone from Turkey gave biometrics in August and was told the expected processing time was 223 days, meaning the decision might only come next spring. Another complains of no update for half a year after biometrics, an extreme outlier, but those do occur. These real stories highlight that while averages are useful, outliers happen, especially in countries with heavy backlog, limited staff, or diplomatic/technical challenges. What's normal in 2025? A projected baseline. So, in the best-case scenario, let's say you're applying from a country with a fast, efficient visa office, and your documents are complete, crystal clear, and don't raise any red flags. In that case, you could get your decision in as little as 10 to 20 working days, that's roughly 2 to 4 weeks after you gave your biometrics. Super smooth sailing. Now, for most people, and I mean the majority of applicants, you're going to fall into the typical range, which is somewhere between 3 to 6 weeks, or about 15 to 45 calendar days. That's what we see most often from moderate-speed jurisdictions like the US, UK, UAE, or even parts of India. Then there's the slower or trickier cases, and these are ones where either your file needs extra verification, maybe there's a backlog at the consulate, or IRCC wants to double-check something in your documents. In these cases, we're seeing waits of around 6 to 12 weeks. Not fun, but not abnormal either. And finally, yes, unfortunately there is a worst-case lane, and that's what we'd call the highly delayed or exceptional category. If you're applying from a region with heavy backlogs, diplomatic slowdowns, or a high volume of applications, things can drag out to 3 to 4 months or even longer. We've seen it happen in countries like Turkey, Nigeria, and sometimes even in parts of South Asia during peak seasons. So, let's say you gave your biometrics on October 1, 2025, in the best case, you could hear back by mid-October. More realistically, if you're in the average range, you might get a decision anytime between late October and mid-November. But if you're on the slower end, don't be shocked if you're still waiting till December, or even into January 2026, if you're really unlucky. Thus, if you gave biometrics on October 1, 2025, in the fast lane, you may get a decision by mid-October. In the average lane, expect mid to late October or early November. In slower systems, you might still wait until December or beyond. Remember, the post-biometrics wait is just one slice of the total timeline. Your application preparation, document completeness, responses to queries, and passport return also cost time. Why these delays happen? The hidden mechanics. So what's behind the different processing times? Why does Canada sometimes take weeks, and other times months? Here are the key factors. IRCC and visa office workload and backlogs. When many applications flood one office, e.g. India, Pakistan, Nigeria, queues lengthen. Sometimes news surges, holiday, travel peaks, slow things down. Country-specific security and background checks. For applicants from certain countries, IRCC must coordinate with national agencies, international police databases, etc. Some countries lag or have bureaucratic delays in responding. Incomplete/ambiguous documents. If your bank statements are messy, your proof of ties is weak, or documents are unclear, IRCC may issue an RFE, request for further documents, and pause until you respond. Medical/police/security checks not yet cleared. Even for tourist visas, IRCC can request police certificates or checks. If those come slowly, your file stalls. Passport request and stamping logistics. Once a decision is made, the step of requesting and stamping passports involves courier, VAC, embassy, and local logistical delays. Policy, resource and staffing constraints. IRCC might reprioritize resources, e.g. for humanitarian cases, refugees, or embassies might have staff shortages in certain countries. Random or discretionary delays. Sometimes files get pulled aside for administrative review, quality assurance, or manual inspection, which adds unpredictable days or weeks. Tips for applicants: stay sane, stay smart. Here are some strategies and mindset moves that TravelTree would advise to survive the post-biometrics wait. Apply early, don't wait till last minute, factor in 2 to 3 months of buffer, especially if applying from a slow jurisdiction. Submit pristine documents, clean, clear, translated, organized. Avoid "maybe later I'll clarify this" attitude. Respond immediately to any IRCC requests. Delays in responding cause your file to stagnate. Check your IRCC account often, enable email/SMS updates, sometimes the only alert you'll get is a passport request notice. Don't book non-refundable travel until your visa is in hand, too many heartbreak stories. Use the IRCC web form for delay inquiries, but only if your current wait exceeds published time significantly. Stay patient yet proactive, understand normal versus abnormal. If you cross 1.5-2 times published time without any update, it may warrant inquiry. Join applicant forums/Facebook/Reddit groups, sometimes others from your VAC can share current, real, timelines. Final thoughts, what you should expect. As of September 26, 2025, you can set your mental baseline. Post-biometrics decisions for Canada visitor visas tend to land between 2 and 6 weeks, with some outliers falling shorter or much longer. That doesn't ensure your case is that fast. Country, documents, backlog, and luck are big variables. If you're watching your clock after biometrics, don't panic too early. But also don't sit completely idle, be ready to respond, stay informed, and keep tabs on your IRCC account. If you tell me which country you're applying from, I can give a more precise estimate for your jurisdiction. Do you want me to check your country's recent processing times, after biometrics, and send you a custom estimation? Thank you for trusting TravelTree with your immigration journey. If you found this helpful, and want more detailed guides and weekly updates, subscribe to TravelTree and hit the bell icon. Your Canadian dream is our mission.